Hi, my name's Dr. Ross Hauser, coming to you, well, basically 2 weeks after Hurricane Ian. So I'm grateful that, we're able to be open and that we have the studio and we're able to service our patients here at the Hauser Neck Center in Fort Myers, Florida. I just want to say again, thank you to everybody, all your well wishes. We are rebuilding, on Sanibel, so Mary and I's house. We got all the drywall out, and now we just have to wait for electricity and water to come on into the island, and then of course we can start power washing and those kind of things. And Gail, I appreciate you, willing to talk to us, because if I was going to say what's the world's worst symptom that I've ever experienced or other people have experienced, many people would say nausea. And the problem is neck instability, when it gives you nausea, it can be constant. So I just wanted to make one video on nausea, and I appreciate you willing to talk about it. So why don't you just tell us your history, the ATV things that happened in 2018, how awful the nausea was, and then why did you end up deciding to come to Caring Medical?
Well, yeah, I had a couple of accidents on my ATV. I didn't feel like anything major happened, but I think it must have. Falling off of a cliff and my ATV rolling down the hill. Luckily, I was up there.
Where was that, in Florida, or where was it?
No, it was Grenada, the West Indies. The
Oh, so you told me you love athletics and you love adventure.
Yeah, and I just love ATVing and motorcycling, and and then my neck has always hurt a lot has hurt me for a long time, and then I just was just getting so much pain that I couldn't even cook. Just to put my head down like this to prep, I would get nauseous within 20 minutes. So it was like taking me 3 hours to cook a dinner.
Like you'd have to lay down?
Yes, lay down, just.
Okay. When you lay down, did the nausea get better?
Yes, it did. And mostly just didn't even have to lie down, would just sit back, just have your head up.
Okay.
So then it would go away. But my pain was like really bad, and I've been to many doctors, and I even had MRIs, and they said there was nothing wrong.
Did you take medicines for the nausea?
No, I didn't find really medicine worked.
Okay.
No.
Why'd you end up coming here? Like what was it about?
Well, because I knew about Prolotherapy, and I just happened to see your videos, right?
Okay.
And I just resonated with them.
Okay.
And I think it was one girl actually particularly that I was watching her videos, and she had all kinds of problems, right? So I knew there had to be a reason why I'm having all these problems, because all kinds of other people were.
So from what I hear you saying, like terrible nausea, especially like when you're upright but your neck is flexed.
Yes.
Because it basically, here, let's just go through this. So let's say before you came here and I'm your friend, if you and I would go for a walk and you kept good posture, would you get nausea or no?
No.
Okay. But if you and I, like say we're going to go shelling on Sanibel, which is basically the #1 shelling in the United States is Sanibel. Okay, so then we're going to go shelling. It's almost 100% you get terrible nausea, like terrible nausea.
Yeah.
Would you get any other symptoms with the nausea?
The other worst problem I get is eyeball pain.
Okay.
And that might even eclipse the nausea, because when I have the eyeball pain all the time, it was such a pressure on my eyes.
Okay, and then...
And distorting. I just couldn't see properly, especially to drive. It's like, I don't know. Somebody mentioned tracking, and I thought, has it got something to do with tracking? Okay,
so would you say that the eyeball pain, maybe a little bit of blurry vision, and the nausea would almost come together?
Actually, it would be separate. Yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't get the nausea unless my head was down, but eyeball pain I could get all the time.
Would you get it when you're laying down?
The eyeball pain or the nausea?
No, the eyeball pain and the blurry vision.
That I could get, because sometimes even in the morning is the worst.
Okay.
And my blood pressure is really high in the morning.
Okay. And did they ever find, did you ever see a doctor for the eyeball pain, the blood pressure, did you ever see a doctor and did they ever find anything?
Well, yeah, they wanted me to take high blood pressure pills, but I went to the ophthalmologist and they couldn't find a reason for my eyeball pain at all.
Okay, and you
It's
did
your
have some.
eyes are good, they said.
You did have some blurry vision.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, the blurry vision would come and go.
Yes.
Okay. Here, just for people at home watching this video, so instability. The word, if you look up, what does the word mean? So the Latin was instabile, which meant changeability. So when somebody has symptoms that change, like in other words, like what you're basically saying, I walk along and my head posture is good, I don't get nausea. But if I change something, I get nausea, like I look down. Then you say that I get up in the morning and all of a sudden I have blurry vision. But as the day goes on, maybe I wouldn't have the blurry vision. So these are all signs that your anatomy is changing somehow relating to the symptoms. So when you have instability of the neck, it means that when you're bending down, the vertebrae are going to bend down more because the ligaments are stretched out, so the motion's going to be more. So if you had, like let's just say you have some jugular vein compression because your curve wasn't exactly great when we did your curve. So let's just say, for argument's sake, your atlas is a little bit forward, so you get a little bit of kinking of the vertebral artery. Then all of a sudden you're looking down. See, you're looking down. Now you get even more compression of the jugular vein. Then your brain pressure goes up. You get nausea. That would be one explanation. Then you lay down. You lay down. Then the atlas goes back. Then the jugular vein compression isn't as bad. And then the nausea goes away. And then when you have increased intracranial pressure, that can press on the eyeball from the back. So you get the posterior globe of the eyeball gets squished. I mean, I just call it the eye squish. Yeah. But of course, then you have increased eye pressure. That's one explanation of the eye pain. The other thing too is a lot of people don't realize is that the vertebral artery comes here out of the vertebral groove of the atlas, but the C1 nerve is also there. And in our experience, when your atlas is forward, it stretches on that nerve, and believe it or not, that nerve, it refers pain like around the eye and behind the eye. So if we get your curve better and we get stability with, exercises and curve correction, and we do prolotherapy to stabilize it, the things should get better. Now you've had how many? This is only literally my third time seeing you. So I've actually only seen you twice.
Right,
so
and after the first time I felt a big difference.
Okay, so explain that. So you got prolotherapy, what, like 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, like 2 months ago, and then you live in Miami, and we're in Fort Myers. So tell us, okay, so you get prolotherapy, then what happened?
And I would say within 3 weeks I was able to drive my car, which I couldn't do at all.
Okay, and what was preventing you from driving your car?
I couldn't see.
Okay, you had blurry vision.
Not even blurry vision. I don't know, I couldn't focus.
Okay.
Couldn't focus on maybe distance and close at the same time.
So within 3 weeks you can drive your car and you felt really safe.
Yes, and I was having chronic headaches, and then without even realizing it, my headache was gone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How long have you had the head pressure or the headaches?
30 years.
30 years. So you got rid of 30 years. So long story short, I mean, obviously you could have had a neck problem for 30 years, right?
I think I did.
Okay.
I think I got it. I was doing acrobatics when I was young.
Okay, so you're loose jointed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was actually interviewing you for nausea, but I know you have all these other things.
Oh.
So
loaded with symptoms.
Okay, so well, just out of curiosity, had you noticed? Did you have brain fog, or did you have memory things that were starting to occur?
Oh, definitely. I felt like I had bugs in my brain.
Okay, explain that.
I just felt like something was not right in my brain, and a lot of pressure, a lot of head pressure.
Okay. Had you noticed your personality change, like in the last few years?
My husband might tell you that.
Like, you know, normally you're bubbly and you're going to go do this and that. So did you find yourself more of a homebody or not wanting to do so many things because you didn't feel good?
Oh, definitely the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And I not motivated to do anything.
Okay, so then because I was going to make this thing on nausea, but who even knows now? But so tell me, let's talk about the nausea. So how's that going? Now you had your second prolotherapy visit, and now
Yes.
you're here for your third.
Yeah.
So tell me what happened after the second prolotherapy visit.
And I was doing really good. And
Like almost like 100% resolution of your nausea.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you could cook like
Yes.
normal. You were
Yes.
cooking meals like normal after
Yes.
your second visit.
Yes, yeah. And so I was feeling good, and then I started to do some housework, and then I did the neck instability, and I think that's where it kind of messed up.
Okay, a little bit. You had a little bit of recurrence of the nausea.
And mostly they had the eyeball pressure.
Okay.
It seemed to really affect the eyeball.
When you did, like, you probably did a little bit too much, but you hadn't felt like doing housework in 3 years, basically.
Exactly.
So that, I wouldn't feel too bad about that because I do want you to try stuff. How's the nausea doing?
That's doing much better. I can now, I feel, go for an hour.
Okay, good.
Without getting nauseous.
Good. Okay, so like, in other words, if you were cooking a meal and the meal prep only took a half an hour, you'd be good.
Yes.
Okay, you'd be good.
Yeah.
So what would you say to people who are thinking about coming for prolotherapy or getting an eval? You think it's a good idea?
Really think it's a good idea because I just don't know where I'd be without prolotherapy. I'd be in bed doing nothing,
Okay.
getting worse.
And you're more...
And even when I went to a chiropractor, he said, if you don't do something, you're not going to be able to cook at all.
Okay, because you were so loose.
Actually, yeah, loose. I actually felt my neck loose.
Like it was clicking and popping, right?
And just not stable, right? And
Right.
then after the prolotherapy, I almost feel like you tighten up a screw, you know?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So are you more hopeful now? Like you feel like you're going to get your life back?
Definitely. I even want to go over to the West Indies and get on my ATV.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I guess I got to see you. I got to see you at least one more time. But
Yes, I'm all ready for it. I was so thankful I could get here.
great. Thank you so much for sharing your story.